The marketplace on station Kepler 7 had fallen silent. What moments ago had been a cacophony of interspecies commerce, chittering, humming, and the universal language of haggling, now held its collective breath. At the center of the frozen tableau stood a Quell mother, her pale blue skin glistening with fierce sweat, her forearms wrapped protectively around a small child. The little one's large eyes, far too big for her face as was typical of their kind, blinked rapidly, not yet understanding the danger. 3 Kravix enforcers surrounded them, their reptilian faces twisted into expressions that transcended species. Cruelty. The lead enforcer, his scales dark as a void, held a collection device in his clawed hand. The numbers displayed told a simple, devastating story. Debt unpaid. Overdue. Your family owes the Consortium. The enforcer hissed, his translator rendering his words into flat, emotionless galactic standard. The child will serve 20 cycles in the mining colonies. It is the law. No! The Quellin mother's voice cracked across 3 of her vocal cords simultaneously. Please, she's only 5. Take me instead. I'll work 40 cycles, 50. Just leave her alone. The enforcer's laugh was a scraping sound. You're past prime working age. The child has decades of productivity ahead. The Consortium's calculations are clear. Around the marketplace, hundreds of beings watched. Merchants from a dozen worlds, travelers from 100 more. None moved. None spoke. This was the way of things in this sector of space. The Kravix Consortium controlled 7 systems, and their laws, however brutal, were absolute. To interfere was to invite the same fate. The little Quellin's child began to cry, a soft, keening sound that somehow carried in the silence. That's when Chen stepped forward. He was unremarkable by most standards. Average height for a human, dark hair beginning to gray at the temples, wearing the simple jumpsuit of a cargo hauler. Nothing about him suggested heroism. Nothing about him suggested he was anything other than what he appeared. Another wanderer trying to make his way in an indifferent galaxy. Hold on, Marcus said, his voice calm. Let's talk about this. The lead enforcer's head swiveled toward him, nictitating membranes sliding across his eyes in surprise. This doesn't concern you, human. Move along. See, that's where you're wrong. Marcus took another step closer. I'm making it my concern. A ripple went through the crowd. Humans were known in the sector mostly as cargo haulers or mercenaries, a relatively new species on the galactic stage, only 3 generations out from first contact. They were considered tough, stubborn, occasionally irrational, but smart enough usually not to challenge Kravix's enforcers. You're going to let them go, Marcus continued, still in that same conversational tone. The enforcer's claws flexed. The debt is legal. The child goes to the mines. This is the law. You have 5 seconds to walk away before I add you to the collection. Marcus glanced at the mother, her 4 eyes full of confused hope. He looked at the child, whose crying had quieted to small hiccups, not understanding why this strange biped had placed himself between her and the scary scaled beings. Then Marcus looked back at the enforcer and smiled. Not a kind smile. Let me tell you something about humans, he said. We've got this funny thing in our psychology. It's probably a defect, honestly. Most species, smart species like yourselves, look at a situation, calculate the odds, make the logical choice. We do that too. But sometimes, when we see something that's just wrong, when we see someone picking on someone small or weaker, someone who can't fight back, he took another step forward. We stop calculating. The enforcer raised his weapon, a neural disruptor, standard Consortium issue. Final warning, human. You ever wonder why we're good at war? Marcus asked, his hands still relaxed at his sides. It's not because we're stronger. Half the species in the galaxy could break us in half. It's not because we're smarter. Hell, the Quellins have you beat by about 40 IQ points across the bell curve. You want to know the secret? The marketplace held its breath again. We're crazy enough to fight when we know we can't win. The enforcer fired. Marcus moved, not with enhanced speed, not with any special technology. He simply moved the way a human moves when evolution, adrenaline, and a million years of survival instinct kick in all at once. The neural blast missed by centimeters, close enough that he felt it tingle across his skin. Then Marcus was inside the enforcer's reach, one hand grabbing the weapon, the other driving up into the soft scales beneath the Kravix's jaw. The enforcer staggered back, shocked. No one fought back. No one ever fought back. The other 2 enforcers raised their weapons, but Marcus had already moved again, using the leader as a shield. Here's what's going to happen, he said, his voice still calm despite the chaos. You're going to delete that debt. You're going to walk away, and you're going to tell your consortium friends that Station Kepler 7 is now under human protection. That's insane, the enforcer gasped. You're one human. We have fleets, armies. Yeah, Marcus agreed. You do. But you know what happens if you hurt that child? Every human cargo hauler, every human merchant, every human mercenary in this sector, hell, in the next 3 sectors over, is going to hear about it. And they're all going to come here. Not because it's logical, not because it's smart, but because we don't let people hurt kids. He locked eyes with the enforcer. Your move. For a long moment, nothing happened. Calculations ran behind the Kravix's eyes, resource assessments, threat evaluations, the economic impact of a trade disruption versus the value of one small debtor. The enforcer lowered his weapon in pure frustration. He deleted the debt file. This isn't over, human. It never is, Marcus replied. Now get out. The 3 Kravix backed away, then turned and left the marketplace in what could only be called a retreat. Slowly, the normal sounds of the station resumed: conversations, commerce, life. The Quellin mother approached Marcus on trembling legs. Why? She asked in her lilting accent. You don't know us. You could have died. Marcus knelt down to the child's level, offering a small smile. The little one reached out with a tiny hand and touched his face, curious. I've got a daughter, he said quietly. She's about your age, and I'd hope someone would do the same for her. He stood, nodded to the mother, and turned to leave. Wait, the mother called. Your name so we can. Marcus Chen, he said over his shoulder. Cargo hauler. Nothing special. But as he walked away, every being in that marketplace knew they had witnessed something that would be told and retold across the stars. The day a human stepped forward when everyone else stepped back. The day someone proved that sometimes the most illogical choice is also the most human one. And somewhere in the depths of space, the Kravix Consortium adjusted their risk assessments for human-occupied zones. It wouldn't be the last time. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.